Anxiety isn't a disorder. It's the price you pay for living without principles. Men today are no longer strong, but it's not because society made them weak. It's because they chose to be. You can deny it all you want, but every time you open your phone just to avoid your thoughts, every time you dodge a hard conversation, every time you put off doing what you know needs to be done, you're digging the anxiety hole deeper inside your own head. And then you complain that you're stressed, that you have anxiety, that life's just too overwhelming. Listen, pressure isn't what kills you. It's your weakness in how you deal with it that buries you alive. You're not anxious because you have problems. You're anxious because you don't have a system for dealing with problems. You react by instinct instead of acting with principle. And that's exactly what Stoic philosophy warned against over 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But you gave that power away. You allowed the world to invade your mind. You live by emotion instead of logic. You let the news, the drama, social media, and your own sense of scarcity steer your thoughts, and then wonder why you feel unsafe. Here's the truth. You forgot how to live like a disciplined man. And no, 5 minutes of morning meditation or sipping herbal tea won't save you. Only inner discipline, rational thinking, and right action in chaotic times will break your anxiety. Anxiety is your body sounding the alarm on a life lived without structure. You want to fix it? Stop chasing positive feelings. Rebuild your thinking system. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. You're not anxious because you have problems. You're anxious because you don't have principles. Sound harsh? Good. It should, because no one else is willing to be this honest with you. And that's why you're still stuck in the same dumb loop. Feel anxious? Find something to numb it. Feel worse? Repeat. You don't have a mental health issue. You have a discipline issue. Anxiety is the signal that you've surrendered control over yourself. You can't control your thoughts. You can't control your reactions. You can't control your behavior. And worse, you don't even know who is in control of you. What happens when a soldier goes into battle with no weapons, no training, no plan? They die. That's you, every single day, walking into the world with an empty mind and a weak spirit. Work bends you. People manipulate your emotions. Deadlines, news, social media, financial pressure bombard your mind while you have zero mental armor. Stoicism doesn't say stay positive. It says stop being an idiot. Don't try to feel better. Get better at navigating your emotions. Build yourself a bulletproof mindset, a trained mind, and a reaction system based not on emotions but on principle. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And most men today don't react, they just react, like animals. You want anxiety to go away? Then stop acting like someone who's unconscious. Step into the role of the one in control. Don't let your mind become a playground for fear. Unless you learn to master yourself, anxiety will never leave. It'll cling to you like a parasite and eat your self-respect alive. Most men are anxious for one simple reason. They're trying to control everything except themselves. You stress over rising interest rates, unanswered emails, slow replies from your girlfriend, your boss's attitude in a meeting. You let external events dictate your mood, your energy, and your actions. Then wonder why your mind feels like it's always on fire. Here's the truth. You've handed over control of your life to things you can't control. Stoic philosophy begins with a single principle. Separate what's within your control from what's not. This isn't some mental hack or feel-good therapy. It's a way of life. And if you don't master it, everything else you try, meditation, exercise, books, will be useless. You don't control what others think. You don't control the stock market. You don't control whether it rains today. But you do control how you respond. You control your words, your choices, your behavior. And yet, you spend 90% of your energy on things you can't change. That's stupidity being celebrated in modern life. When you draw the line clearly, this is mine, that is not, you feel a strange sense of relief. You're no longer torn apart by things beyond your reach. You stop playing victim to circumstance and emotional chaos. The Stoic man doesn't waste mental energy on the impossible. He channels everything he's got into what's within reach, and that is what makes him strong. You can keep trying to control everything, or you can drop the illusion and start living like someone who's actually in command. The moment you choose the latter, anxiety has nowhere left to live. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. There's a classic Stoic habit. Visualize the worst-case scenario. Sounds negative? It's not. It's the antidote to one of the most toxic forces in modern life, unchecked imagination. Because most anxiety doesn't come from real problems, it comes from the horror movie you play in your head, and then believe is real. You might be losing your job. You don't know what comes next. You feel misunderstood. You're battling an invisible sense of insecurity. And then come the mental spirals. I'll be broke, alone, homeless, disgraced, abandoned. It all piles on. But you've never stopped to ask, what's the actual worst that could happen? When you ask this question, something strange happens. Fear starts to lose its fog. You begin to see the problem through reason, not panic. And almost every time you realize the worst isn't that bad. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's inconvenient, but it won't kill you. And if it won't kill you, you can handle it. That's how the Stoic dismantles anxiety. Not with blind optimism, but with courage. Not by pretending everything's fine, but by walking straight into fear and staring it down. Anxiety is strongest when you run from it. But once you drag it into the light, question it, strip it down to its core, it loses its power. Asking what the worst-case scenario is doesn't make you paranoid. It gives you back the advantage. Now your actions come from preparation, not panic. If you're too afraid to ask this question, don't kid yourself about being strong. You're just living in a comfortable illusion until reality slaps you across the face. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. You're not a victim because life is hard. You become a victim because you think it shouldn't be. Sound familiar? I'm so tired. Why is everything against me? I've tried so hard. Why isn't it working? You think you're opening up, but really you're resisting something that's inevitable. Suffering. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They didn't pretend everything was fine. They didn't positive vibe their way out of problems. They stared adversity in the face and said, "Good, this is training." Why? Because the very nature of this game, life, is suffering mixed with growth. No one gets a pass. The only difference is that weak men see suffering as punishment. Strong men see it as a test. Afraid of getting hurt, afraid to fail, afraid to lose something? Good, those aren't flaws. They're milestones on the path to becoming someone better. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The blacksmith works with red-hot iron. A man lives by facing pain." Men grow not because they dodge punches, but because they've been hit enough to know they won't die. Every time you suffer, it's a training round. You learn endurance. You learn patience. You learn how to stay composed when the walls are crashing down. And if you're tough enough not to fold, you become unbreakable. The problem isn't that life is too harsh. The problem is you're still clinging to the illusion that it's supposed to be easy. Drop that expectation. Treat pain like a sparring partner, not the enemy. Because no resilient man was ever forged in comfort and safety. Every one of them was built through hardship, loss, and pain that felt impossible, until it wasn't. If you wake up with a heavy head, a creeping panic, or just a nameless fatigue, don't reach for coffee or TikTok. Reach for a blank page. One of the simplest yet most powerful Stoic tools is writing. Not to become a writer, but to see yourself clearly. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, wrote to himself every morning, not for anyone else, not for social media, but to reset his mind, to remind himself of what truly matters, to separate logic from noise. You can do the same every morning with nothing more than a pen and paper. When you write, you stop being dragged by emotion. You're forced to put your thoughts into form. And once your fears are laid bare on paper, you realize most of them are exaggerations, imagined scenarios, echoes of anxiety, not truth. Don't write to sound good. Write to clear your mind. Start with this question: what am I afraid of right now? Write the answer, even if it sounds ridiculous. Then write, what can I do about it today? It doesn't have to be a big move. Just one specific action, and you'll feel yourself shift from reactive to proactive. That's the foundation of real control. If you don't write, you'll drift through the day, led by everything around you. Emails, notifications, someone else's bad mood, like a ship with no rudder. And by night, you'll wonder why you feel so drained. Writing puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. No need for deep philosophy books. No need for hours of meditation. Just 10 minutes of journaling each morning, and you'll be shocked by the clarity you unlock. Small act, massive power. You're going to lose everything. The question is, how will you live if you knew that was true? Sounds dark? It's not. It's actually the most practical way to free yourself from the grip of anxiety. Because anxiety is born from your attachment to safety, control, possessions, relationships, stability, and your belief that if you lost any of it, you'd collapse. But you won't collapse, unless you choose to believe you will. The Stoics had a name for this practice: premeditation malorum, the premeditation of evils. Not to be pessimistic, but to train for readiness. You picture the worst: losing your job, losing someone you love, being betrayed, public failure. You don't flinch. You sit with it, you stare it down. Then you ask, if this happened, what would I do? And something remarkable happens. Instead of panic, you start planning. Instead of obsession, you become calm. Because now you know you can handle it. You realize the thing that terrified you all this time was just a shadow you never had the courage to face. One man said, "When I imagined losing everything, my career, reputation, even the woman I love, I thought I'd go insane. But then I saw it clearly. If that happens, I still have one thing left: me." And that's where I started rebuilding. Negative visualization doesn't make you dark. It makes you dangerous. Because you understand, nothing is guaranteed, and everything you have today can disappear tomorrow. And still, you'll be standing, you'll keep going, and that's where real freedom begins. You can't control fate, but you can prepare. And once you're ready for the worst, there's nothing left to fear. Anxiety is not the problem, it's the consequence. The consequence of living without discipline, without structure, without a mental framework. It's your mind's signal that you're drifting through life like a zombie, being tossed around instead of taking the wheel. And the bad news is this: no one's coming to save you. No course, no therapist, no feel-good advice, no universe sending magical energy your way. The only thing that can save you is you. When you decide to stop living like a man led by his emotions, you can keep making excuses, keep blaming stress on your environment, keep saying society pressures me, keep whining that my childhood messed me up. Or you can look in the mirror and say, enough. From today, I'm taking responsibility. From today, you act on principle, not emotion. From today, you journal in the morning instead of scrolling your phone. From today, you separate what's in your control and let go of the rest. From today, you train yourself like a warrior, because the world doesn't need more victims. You can't control everything, but you can control yourself. And when you master that, you won't feel anxious anymore. You'll start becoming the man you actually respect. So the final question is, what do you choose? Do you choose to keep blaming and waiting for someone to rescue you? Or do you choose to become the kind of man even fear hesitates to mess with? Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.